Let us start about cell wall. What is cell wall? Okay. In the year of 1665, first discovered by Robert Hooke. Cell wall first discovered by Robert Hooke in a cork tissue. In a cork tissue of oak plant. In a cork tissue of oak plant. Okay, what is a cell wall? Cell wall means it is a outer layer. Cell wall is a outer layer of the cell. Outer layer of the cell. The cell wall, plant cell wall made up of with cellulose. Plant cell wall made up of with cellulose. Actually, this cell wall present in plants. Cell wall present in plant cell and at the same time in prokaryotic cells. In prokaryotic cells except mycoplasma. Except mycoplasma. In mycoplasma cell wall is absent, but in remaining prokaryotic cells cell wall is present, just like in a bacteria. And in fungal cells, also cell wall is present, and in algae also cell wall is present, but in animal cell wall is absent. In animal cell wall is completely absent. Cell membrane is present in animal cell. Just observe here, in the year of 1665, the cell wall first discovered by Robert Hooke in a cork tissue of oak plant. And next, what is the cell wall? Cell wall is a outer layer of the cell, and this cell wall made up of with cellulose. And this cell wall present in plant cells and in prokaryotic cells except mycoplasma. Mycoplasma means PPLO. And in fungal cells and also in algae, but in animal cells cell wall is absent. Important features of the cell wall. So cell wall present in plant cell and prokaryotic except mycoplasma and algae and fungi. And what is the next one? Absent in animal cell. And next one, cell wall is non-living. Cell is a living, but cell wall is non-living. Cell wall is a non-living, and it is a free permeable. It is a free permeable. Free permeable means the cell wall will allows the all transportations from one cell to another cell. And also determined cell shape. Determined cell shape. Due to the presence of cell wall, cells contain the shape and protects the contents of cell. So this cell wall will protect the inner content of the cell. And next one, it provides strength. Cell wall also provides strength to the cell and provide turgidity. Plant cell wall. Okay, plant cell wall made up of with cellulose and hemicellulose. Plant cell wall made up of with cellulose and hemicellulose. Next, fungi. Fungi cell wall made up of with chitin. Fungi cell wall made up of with chitin. Algae cell wall made up of with cellulose plus galactones and mannans and some kind of minerals. And also prokaryotic cell wall. Prokaryotic cell wall made up of with peptidoglycans. If you can take some group of cells, so it is a cell. Also cell. So group of cells. This group of cells called tissue. Group of cells called tissue. If you can take one tissue, this tissue contains the group of cells. So in this group of cells, each and every cell contains the cell wall. So suppose for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cells are there. So this first cell contains the cell wall. This first cell surrounded by cell wall. At the same time, second cell also surrounded by cell wall. At the same time, third cell also surrounded by cell wall, and each and every cell surrounded by cell wall. But just observe here, first and second, these two cells connect together with the help of middle lamella, not cell wall. It means there is no connection between two cell walls of the two cells. Every cell wall surrounded by a middle lamella, It means between the cells middle lamella is present. This middle lamella made up of with magnesium pectate and calcium pectate. This middle lamella made up of with magnesium pectate and calcium pectate. What is the location of middle lamella? Middle lamella located between the two cells. So what is the location of middle lamella? Means middle lamella located between the two cells, or middle lamella present between the two cells. But actual answer is middle lamella present between the two primary cell walls. Middle lamella present between the two primary cell walls. What is primary cell wall? Means actually it is the middle lamella. After middle lamella, the cell wall called as a primary cell wall. So this is the primary cell wall. Between the primary cell wall and cell membrane, one cell wall is present. It means one cell wall will be formed. What is the name of that cell wall? Means secondary cell wall. So this is a secondary cell wall. After primary cell wall, it means between the cell membrane and primary cell wall, secondary cell wall is present. This is a secondary cell wall. This one also secondary cell wall. Just observe here, after secondary cell wall, tertiary cell wall also is present. Tertiary cell wall also is present. So just once again I repeat the arrangement of layers in plant cell. What is the first layer? Primary cell wall. After primary cell wall, secondary cell wall. After secondary cell wall, tertiary cell wall. After is tertiary cell wall, cell membrane. I will draw the layers very clearly. So actually it is the middle lamella. It is the cell wall. Which cell wall? Primary cell wall. After primary cell wall, secondary cell wall. In secondary cell wall, it is a S1 layer. After S1 layer, this is a S2 layer. After S2 layer, this is a S3 layer. This entire layer called as a secondary cell wall. It is a primary cell wall. The secondary cell wall, the middle lamella. The secondary cell wall contains the three layers: S1, S2, and S3. After secondary cell wall, tertiary cell wall is present. After tertiary cell wall, cell membrane is present. So these are the layers. These are the layers of cell wall. Just observe here. First one, middle lamella made up of with calcium pectate and magnesium pectate, and primary cell wall It is a secondary cell wall. This secondary cell wall contains again three sublayers: S1, S2, and S3. So after secondary cell wall, tertiary cell wall. After tertiary cell wall, cell membrane. cell membrane. And also observe the cell wall of the another cell. The second cell is the first cell. Here is the middle lamella. After middle lamella, primary cell wall is completed. After primary cell wall, the secondary cell wall. In the secondary cell wall, the S1 layer, S2 layer, S3 layer, S1, S2, S3. This entire 3 layers considered as a secondary cell wall, the primary cell wall. After secondary cell wall, tertiary cell wall. After tertiary cell wall, cell membrane. Cell membrane. So, primary cell wall, S1, S2 and S3, tertiary and plasma membrane. So, I am giving detailed explanation of cell wall. So, now the first cell, now with the second cell, now with the third cell. Observe here, what is the location of middle lamella? Location of middle lamella between two primary layers. Middle lamella located between two primary layers. Now, what is the location of primary cell wall? What is the location of primary cell wall? Primary cell wall located between middle lamella and secondary cell wall. Primary cell wall located between middle lamella and secondary cell wall. What is the location of secondary cell wall? What is the location of secondary cell wall? Secondary cell wall located between primary cell wall and tertiary cell wall. Primary cell wall and tertiary cell wall. What is the location of tertiary cell wall? This tertiary cell wall located between secondary cell wall and cell membrane. Secondary cell wall and cell membrane. And what is the location of S2 layer? Location of S2 layer. This S2 layer located between S1 and S3 layer. S1 and S3 layer. So, what is the location of plasma membrane? Plasma membrane located between tertiary layer and cytoplasm. Tertiary layer and cytoplasm. So, this is a arrangement of cell wall. Arrangement of cell wall layers in a cell. So, any kind of metabolic product can transfer from one cell to secondary cell, first cell to secondary cell through the semi-permeable membrane, it means plasma membrane, and tertiary cell wall and secondary cell wall and primary cell wall and middle lamella, again primary cell wall and Just look at the diagram, just observe here, ions transfer from one cell to another cell. What is the transportation process of ions from one cell to another cell? Means transportation process. Okay, what is the transportation process between two cells? First of all, ions transfer from one cell to another cell through the plasma membrane and tertiary cell wall and secondary cell wall, primary cell wall, middle lamella and primary cell wall and secondary cell wall and tertiary cell wall and again plasma membrane. So, after completion of this entire layers, after crossing of this entire layer, ion will transfer from one cell to another cell. Composition of cell wall and cell layers. This middle lamella made up of with gel-like magnesium and calcium pectates. Magnesium and calcium pectates. And primary cell wall. Primary cell wall made up of with cellulose and hemicellulose and pectin. Next one, secondary cell wall. Secondary cell wall means S1, S2, S3 layers, 3 layers. And the secondary cell wall made up of with inorganic salts and some kind of waxes and cutin and lignin along with cellulose and hemicellulose. Lignin along with cellulose and hemicellulose. Next, plasma membrane. This plasma membrane made up of with phospholipids with associated proteins. Phospholipids with associated proteins. So we will discuss about plasma membrane in next video. Thank you very much.